All right, we're live. Welcome everybody to another Q&A office hour and strategy call. I am Jeannie Petrucci, registered dietitian, nutritionist, culinary coach, and expert nutrition content creator. And I am joined today by my colleague and partner in crime, Keren. Keren, your name is spelled Keren, right? So it's Keren, not Karen. And is it Reiser?
Reiser.
Yeah, so I do pronounce it right. Perfect. Yeah. So welcome, Keren. It's great to have you in the space. So before we start talking about our hot topic today, could you please let everybody know kind of how we work together, who you are, what you do, and how we work together?
Yeah, so I'm Keren. I live in Ottawa, Canada, and I'm a registered dietitian. Been working since, 20 something years. And I have a private practice. I do meal planning. I work with people with GI issues. I'm a member of Living Plate. And now I work with Jean as a contractor. So I am behind the scenes working on updating content, updating meal plans, and the coaching calls that we have bi-monthly. I run those.
And you are also a member of our content development board.
Yes, as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just going to grab my phone.
Yeah.
Here and pull up the Facebook group so that we can see who is commenting. So sorry, I should have had that queued up before. We are. Okay, let me just turn off my sound. Perfect. Oh, Elif, Antonella, Elizabeth, Paige, welcome everybody. Suzanne. Okay, we've got a bunch of people joining us already. Excellent. So hot topic today. Now, let me just preface this by saying that Keren and I are not ChatGPT experts. Although I will suggest that nobody's a ChatGPT expert. It's like an expert. You can literally wake up every morning and there's something new, right? There's some new way to organize, to prompt, to edit, right, Keren? It just keeps.
Oh, all my advertisements are everything in my feed is ChatGPT these days. So.
Oh, you mean so like ads for training you on how to use ChatGPT and yeah.
So webinars, every group that I'm a part of is talking about ChatGPT. So it's really the hottest topic.
It really is. And for good reason, as it is going to significantly, whether you wanted to or not, impact the way that we do business as health and wellness professionals. So today's conversation is going to be around leveraging your ChatGPT account. Now we're going to show you how to create a free one, how you're going to leverage that to edit and add more value really to your Living Plate RX content. So before we dive into kind of what is ChatGPT, how it works and how you can apply it, I've created a great resource for you that you're going to be getting access to today. I think Paige is on with us. Paige, could you please drop in the chat the link for the PDF that we're going to be sharing today? That would be amazing. Thank you. So I want to share with you just a visual, because I'm a very visual person. So I was thinking about, how can I explain what ChatGPT is and like kind of how it's going to impact our business. And I would liken it to building a fire. So let's say you're going camping and you're going to be making this delicious meal for your family, because that's what we do, right? We just create delicious food all the time, but you need to build a fire. Now, you might be a person who is going to stand over a pile of wood and bang two rocks together to ignite that fire. You certainly can do that. Or you can use, what do they call it, a whittle? I'm not really sure. But, you can rub sticks together and you can create a fire that way. But that is not the easiest way to kind of get your fire going. Or you can use like an ignition switch or a match. Living Plate RX is your match. We're giving you a huge head start in the area of content creation and content marketing by providing you with that ignition switch, right? So that is going to start your fire. But then you have to take care of that fire. You have to cultivate it. You have to make it grow in a way that's very personal to your brand. And that is what ChatGPT, that is the role that ChatGPT can play. Now, ChatGPT can be like lighter fluid, right? And you know what happens, right, Keren? When you use too much lighter fluid, you lose your eyebrows and your eyelashes. I mean, it can get crazy, right? what you want to do, especially if you haven't used this tool before, is start slow. Just add a little bit of lighter fluid onto the fire, start fanning it. Now, if you don't use ChatGPT, you can still cultivate that fire, but you're going to be the person on your hands and knees blowing the fire and fanning the fire. So was that a good analogy, Keren?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So don't be the person banging the rocks and, trying to get a spark. Like we get you way ahead with Living Play RX membership because we give you all of this content. But Keren and I are both going to encourage you to responsibly use ChatGPT in your practice. And we're going to be covering that today. All right. So I am going to add to our stream here, Keren. Then let's just go back to the first page. All right. So Paige just dropped a link into our Facebook group. So if you are watching from YouTube or LinkedIn, welcome. Thank you for joining us. You can join our private Facebook group if you are a health and wellness practitioner who makes nutrition recommendations as part of your care plans. We're your people. So you can head over to Facebook and search Scale Your Nutrition Practice and join our group, and you will get access to this recording as well as other resources. So this is the guide that we are sharing with you today, and it is essentially going to guide our conversation. We are going to be covering what ChatGPT is, how you get started, how you select content, what prompts we have found in practice to work really well with editing Living Play RX content, and we're going to share with you how you can review and edit. Does that cover it, Keren?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. So let's just dive right in. Now, as we're going through the guide book, please feel free to ask questions. My eyes are going to be moving around, so I'm going to be watching the screens to make sure that we answer them for you. If you are watching this as a recording, please just tag me or Keren. You can, if you're in the Facebook group, we'll both come up and we'll answer your question. So Paige just dropped a link to the Facebook group. So if you are on LinkedIn or YouTube, please follow that link. All right, so there's an introduction page, which just introduces me and Living Play RX. Okay, so first we want to talk about what is ChatGPT. First of all, ChatGPT helped me write this 21-page ebook. It took me about 7 to 8 hours to create this ebook. Without ChatGPT, it would have taken me days to create this ebook. So just an example of the power of using ChatGPT to maintain a conversation about a topic that your ideal customer is excited about. So ChatGPT, I asked it to define itself. What is ChatGPT? The response I got back, Keren, as you can imagine, like, what would you expect ChatGPT? How would you expect it to answer that question?
Oh, I've asked it too. It comes up with a highly technical, software words. It's very technical.
Yeah.
And then you ask it again, dumb it down for me.
Dumb it down. Exactly. So it started generating the response, like, what is ChatGPT? I stopped it. I'm like, stop response. This is not heading in the direction where I wanted to, because it's already way over my head. And I know, Keren and I know our community, you guys want things really broken down in simple language so that we can all understand. So then I prompted it again and asked it to please give me the answer at an 8th grade reading level. And then this is what I got. So this is, very simple to understand. It describes ChatGPT as artificial intelligence and to create text. So it leverages artificial intelligence to create text. Essentially, it is like a Siri, but for text version. It's much more powerful than Siri, but everybody's familiar with Siri, right? We ask Siri a question and it answers a question. If you ask Siri a dumb question, you're going to get a dumb answer. So like prompting is everything, but you can really envision ChatGPT as a Siri, but really more text related. Now that's how Keren and I, envision it. You have access for free to ChatGPT, and that's the version 3. Version 4 is a paid version. It's $20 per month. Keren, is it worth it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I think a lot of the prompts all of the prompts that I'm showing you here in this ebook were generated with the 4th version of ChatGPT. If you take these same prompts and you put them in the GPT-3, you're going to get a good response, but it's not going to be, the reasoning isn't as good. The level of reasoning of version 3 is not as good as version 4, but please start with the free version. To work, ChatGPT uses a special kind of algorithm called a transformer. It's a transformer neural network. And it learns from that network to predict text, and it generates the text, right? So again, it figures out all the grammar rules and the facts and kind of how to make sense of what people are trying to say. And then it predicts what to say next. So ChatGPT is essentially a more powerful version of Siri, but in text version. So how does it work? You feed ChatGPT information, a bunch of words, right? It's called a prompt. And ChatGPT will take that prompt and break it up into pieces, phrases, words. It will then take all of that information and it will create a vector of all of that information so that it can understand what you're asking it to do, right? So it's a human language model. So it takes all of those words and it puts it back together. It's what's called a context vector. And it then makes sense of what you're asking it to do, and it's able to predict what text comes next. ChatGPT does not have emotion. It does not have a conscience. It's simply a text predictor, but it's super, super powerful, as you will see. We already have a question, Karen. Susan is saying, is anyone else getting bumped off the video feed? I don't think so. Is everybody still on with us? We have a good connection. I'm not sure, Susan, just refresh your page and maybe you'll be back in. Be put back in. Karen, was there anything else that you wanted to add about how ChatGPT works?
Yeah, I mean, what I want to say, it's really like a virtual assistant. It's not, it's totally different. Even though we use the analogy of Siri, it's not like Siri. I have had conversations with ChatGPT.
Like, hey, ChatGPT, I'm having a bad day. Can you give me some motivational prompts? That's great.
Seriously, it will give you, it will search information that you cannot find. Like, you would go through tons and tons and tons of Google pages to find the information that you're looking for. It is that powerful. So,
and fast. And
yeah,
really fast.
and just to the point where you say, like, it doesn't have an emotion, or, I mean, it's a robot. It's, there's no question about it.
Yeah. So don't get fooled. It feels like it's listening to you because it is very good at listening and interpreting what you're trying to say and performing the task that you're asking it to. But yes, it has no emotion.
But it does kind of have some humor sometimes in the answers that will come back. And the other thing, I mean, we're going to talk later on, but the other really important thing, and I think that's important for us as healthcare professionals, is that ChatGPT has a boundary. Like, there are certain boundaries, and if you cross those boundaries, it will tell you, it'll guide you to a healthcare professional. It will, it tells you its limitations.
Yes, it will. And especially if you ask it for scientific information, I have asked it to find references for certain blocks of content, and it does that, but then it provides me with a disclaimer, right? And of course, I'm going to follow up on those references to make sure that they are true and valid. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we have a lot of questions, and a lot of those are actually going to be answered on the upcoming page. Martha is asking a question. If a lot of people use it, is there a possibility that info could come out the same and you want to copyright the material? Martha, that is why you take the prompts that we're giving you and you have to customize them to your brand, your voice, your brand essence. Then you will get a different response. If everybody just starts using the same prompt, so like Karen said, you're probably getting Facebook ads that will sell you prompts. If everybody starts using the same prompts without editing them and infusing them with their person and their brand, then yes, you're not going to be able to compete. So you definitely need to differentiate your content, and you do that by first starting with really great content, which you have access to, Martha, but then elevating it by infusing your brand. Karen, did you have anything to add to that question?
Yeah, so I definitely had that question that went through my mind. And a lot of the times when I first started using ChatGPT, I would run through some of the content through plagiarism checkers. And they were always, everything that ChatGPT would give me was always original content. There are other applications out there that you can plug in information and see if it was written by a robot or written by a human.
Yep.
So one of the important things, I'm confident that ChatGPT is original content when you get it, because it's really, they're scrambling the words and they're writing it in a way that it will be original. The issue is where you need to start infusing your own is, I think eventually Google or all these websites for SEO ranking, they are going to start penalizing. I've heard this, penalizing if your content's written by a robot. So ChatGPT is a great playground to start, but you really need a human to read through everything. Don't just copy and paste it.
Exactly. So we are getting a lot of questions about, fact checking and queries and prompts, and that's coming up. So we'll just dive right into that. First, Keren and I really thought it was important to cover best practices for using ChatGPT. So we have an entire page dedicated to it. I think we have 10 best practices, which we'll just cover really quickly here, and we'll answer some of the questions that just came in. So the first and most important is to be specific and clear. We're going to support you with some prompts today. ChatGPT will only be as good as the prompt that you are giving it. So you have to be super specific and clear about what you're asking it to do. So it will help the model understand kind of what you're asking for. Number two, you want to break complex questions into chunks. You don't want to ask ChatGPT to generate a huge amount of content right off of the bat. Maybe you have it generate an outline first, and then you go back and you say, expand this part of the outline for me, highlighting whatever. Again, just get as specific as you can every time you're asking it to do something. So start with a simple question that's well-informed, and you can go from there. You also want to provide context so that the model understands who you are and who you want it to be. That's what I'm getting at here. So, provide context for the topic, like, who are you? I'm a registered dietitian. Okay, well, there's 80,000 of those in the country. What do you do? Tell me more, right? So think about how much information you can give ChatGPT. The more information you give it so that it has context, the better off the content is going to be that it generates.
Wait, I'm going to stop you at that.
Go ahead.
You don't have to give your personal information.
Oh, no.
Give your personal information.
No, like what your focus is. Look, you could ask ChatGPT, tell ChatGPT you are a registered dietitian. You can learn more about me here, and plug in the URL to your About Me page on your website. That's how ChatGPT gets to know you. So yes, Keren, thank you for that. You don't need to tell it where you live and your social
Don't give your social insurance number or whatever, social security. Yeah.
No, and we're going to show you how to kind of drop the URL, and that's really effective and quick way. But you could also just say, I'm a registered dietitian who specializes in supporting couples who've been touched by infertility. I like to provide information on not just evidence-based information on nutrition, but also culinary information. So again, the more information you give it to provide context, the better the response you're going to get. You want to verify information for sure. So you're going to read what the response is, and you're going to decide, with your level of expertise, what is true, what is not, what is in question. Then you need to investigate that. If it provides you with some information, especially if it says a recent research study mentioned that blank, you're going to want to go back to ChatGPT and say, please provide me the scientific reference for this statement. I have yet to have it give me a wrong answer. But of course, I am on the paid version. The free version, I'm not so sure how that's going to work. And then also, which brings us to the limitations of knowledge, which is number 5. ChatGPT only provides information up to 2021. I think it's September, is it? Yeah, September 2021. If you need any research or any information beyond that to current day, you have to connect your ChatGPT account to the web. And you can do that all the way down at the bottom on this page. You can see It's really tiny. I'm sorry, but in the printed version, you'll be able to see what a plugin that is. It's called Web Chat GPT, and it immediately, the second you download that Chrome extension, it immediately is added to your chat. Now you can turn it off and on depending on what you're looking for. So if you're asking who won the Super Bowl in 2023, without the web, it won't be able to answer that question, and it'll tell you. If you connect the web, it can answer that question. So really, you don't always have to have it connected to the web. I actually find it a bit clunky if I'm asking it just like basic information. Keren, what is your experience with using the web connection?
So I did not try that web chat GPT. I decided not to do it. My son did, and he found it clunky. So, you know, I usually have my 18-year-old try these things.
That's wise.
For me. But I did, we don't have this today because I feel like it's so new, but, and we'll share as it goes along. But Bing, which is Microsoft's version of Google, so Bing.com, so it's a search engine. They have integrated, so Microsoft has integrated ChatGPT searching capability and the chatting through Bing.com.
Amazing.
So, and that's also another free account and everything. And so there it's completely integrated and everything. So,
all right. So you can either
new. Everything keeps evolving. Like I read somewhere that Google is going to launch their AI in a month.
Of course.
So,
of course.
Yeah.
Of course. So you have two options now. You can either add for today, you can either use the free Chrome extension called Web Chat GPT, or you can use Bing. So that's the limitations on knowledge. Right now, experimenting with rephrasing, we're going to take you through some initial prompts and then how you can re-prompt, and then also how you can actually train ChatGPT to give you responses that are consistent with previous responses it's given you. And that sounds a little bit complicated, but I'm going to show you how you can do that really simply. Understanding biases, Keren and I already mentioned this. ChatGPT has no conscience. It has no emotion. It can't be empathetic. Now it can speak in an empathetic tone, which I have asked it to do, and it does it really well, but it's just predicting what an empathetic tone would be. It doesn't actually have an empathetic tone. So be aware that you might get biases in your content. Be patient. Keren, what did you say to me before we went live? Like, one of the most important things is that people are what?
You need to be curious. Was
that
okay? I say a lot of things. I have to remember on the spot.
Honestly, I think as a profession,
curiosity.
We are intellectually curious. I don't know that necessarily we're the most patient group. Like, we want answers yesterday. So if, like Keren said, if you are curious and if you have the patience, you're really going to get a lot out of ChatGPT. Avoid over-reliance. Like, it's pretty easy. Like, once you get started to start taking ChatGPT for granted, don't do that, right? You don't want to over-rely on it. You still need to combine its insights with your own knowledge. So yeah, basically don't get lazy, still do your professional development, stay on top of the science. And then just to note that ChatGPT has a complete lack of personal experience. It has no history. It's just an AI language model. And it doesn't have emotions or consciousness that it can rely on. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So how do you get started with ChatGPT? I have given you step-by-step instructions on how to create an account. You visit OpenAI's website, and it's OpenAI. I think it's OpenAI.com, actually. I should include the link here, but it's, just type it in, you'll find it. And you can create an account. You can link it to your Google account or your Microsoft account. And then you have immediate access to ChatGPT almost always. With the free version, sometimes it could take hours or maybe even a couple of days to create the account. It depends on the volume that they have that day. But once you get a free account and you're in, you can upgrade to the paid account, which is $20 per month. Now, the $20 per month gives you better reasoning capabilities, a better access to their better language model, and it also gives you priority for logging in and generating responses. So if OpenAI gets overwhelmed and you're in the free version, you're going to get an error message sometimes that says, I can't perform the function right now. Try again in a few minutes. Karen, did that happen to you when you were on the free version?
To be honest, it's happened to me on the paid version right now. So I would say that, like, if you find I decided to invest in the paid version because I wanted to have access to it when during my working hours. I didn't want to have to wait if it's over capacity.
Right.
And you get access to GPT-4, but you only get limited access. So it's not like you're getting like unlimited access to that. So I'd say it's only the $20 is really only worth it if you feel like you're going to use it as a virtual assistant. It's a really cheap virtual assistant.
I found the reasoning capabilities alone worth it. The quality of the content that it generates at the fourth version is, I think, significantly better than the third version. But again, get started with the third and kind of see how it goes.
Yeah.
It just might require more editing. Somebody just brought up a really good point. Raksha just brought up an excellent point that ChatGPT is good for generating ideas. It is brilliant at sparking creativity. Right. But again, the more information you give it about generating ideas, so you can just say, I'm a registered dietitian, generate 10 Instagram reels ideas that I can, that I can do. And it'll give you some, but you want to give it a little bit more information than that. If you want them to be culinary or if you want them to be niche specific. So yes, can really support with sparking creativity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So I've given you the steps to get started with the optional upgrade. And now this is really important, somewhat new to me. When I started ChatGPT, I went down the rabbit hole, right? Just creating and experimenting with creating content. And every piece of content was a new prompt, right? I kept having to write new prompts. You don't want to do that because every time you open up a new chat, a new prompt, ChatGPT is having to relearn who you are, who your brand is, what your voice is. The better approach is to create, basically, I'm going to say quote unquote folders, because you can't create a folder before you create a prompt, but you can essentially create threads for content threads. So here are some samples of content threads that I'm suggesting you create based on the Living Plate RX content that you have available to you as a member. So Facebook GPT and Instagram GPT. The captions that it generates for Facebook and Instagram can be very similar, but let's say that you're doing a Facebook Live versus an Instagram Live. It's going to generate content that's a little bit different. For example, in a Facebook post, it's never going to say, check the link in bio. Right? That's just a simple example of how they are different. So you can start with one, like social media GPT. You're basically asking it to be your like consultant, your agent for social media. But I recommend if you do Instagram and Facebook that you do too. You can do a LinkedIn GPT. They're all different, and ChatGPT will understand how they're different. So that's why you need to create these areas. Email GPT, landing page GPT, marketing GPT, handouts, newsletters, presentations, etc. So you don't have to make a decision on which folders you're going to create until you actually start generating some prompts and content. Then you can keep everything in that thread. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Can I share my screen now, Karen? Did you have anything else to say about that?
No, I think that's a brilliant idea. I never thought of I knew you could rename your chats, but I didn't think to.
So as you can see here, I've set up an email sequence, GPT, Instagram, and newsletter. So I'm going to share with you on the next few pages these prompts and what they look like for your practice. But essentially, I asked ChatGPT to use a piece of content that I had access to, right? So it's a content on the different types of tofu that you guys have in your library. And I asked it to kind of rewrite it in my brand voice and to provide a caption. And it did that really well. But you can then load in another piece of content and say, please rewrite this piece of content below. And it's going to remember how you modified the first prompt, right? So make it more casual, make it more professional, add emojis. It's going to learn what you like and how you want your content to sound, what the tone of the content is. So you don't have to kind of generate that every time. So you just keep them all in the same thread. Is that making sense, Keren?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And it works. It works. This is something that I've done recently. I mean, this is a free account that I created specifically for this event. I have a paid account and I have many, 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 many prompts to the left to support me with the content creation process. Now I don't do that anymore. So I'll have handouts, I'll have email sequences, marketing, all of that, just like what you're seeing here. So you create the prompt first, and then you go in and you can edit this. There's a little pen button here. You click on that and you can edit the name very, very easily. And then once you edit it, you just click save. And now I have my Instagram GPT folder. So Raksha, I just asked how you create the folders. I just shared with you how to do that. Start a new chat, put in your prompt, get the response, and then ChatGPT is automatically going to create a space for you or a folder or for this thread. Then just go in and rename it by clicking on this button here and then check. It's a pretty simple process. And so then you just start developing these threads and you just continue to ask it to edit other Living Plate RX content, and it will remember everything that you said before. Okay, you're welcome, Raksha. Okay, so now we know how to train ChatGPT to learn our brand essence and our voice. Keren, did you have anything else to say about that, or we're good to move forward?
We're good. We're good.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Okay,
let's look at if there are comments. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking to see if we have any questions. Okay, nope, we're good.
Okay.
Paige is saying all of these can be used to customize the templates available through Living Plate. Yes. So once you start customizing your template, ChatGPT will learn the changes that you're making, and it will give you much better responses the first time with other types of similar content. All right. So selecting content, Keren, I'm going to let you take this first about, what kind of content makes sense to really leverage ChatGPT for initially, kind of to get started.
So the consumer, anything that's kind of like your social media posts, I would, that's where I started with the Living Plate content, because we have these amazing graphics. You've already planned out the notes are there, but I'm not going to, nor should anybody, just copy and paste straight out of the Living Plate playbook onto your Instagram or your Google or whatever account that you're putting it on. So I just simply put it into ChatGPT and ask it to rewrite it in my voice.
Perfect.
Yeah, and that's
perfect. So I agree with Keren that your social media content is a great place to start. Also, your blog content is a good place to start. Those two collections are public facing. Now, all of your content is like patient facing, right? But in my practice, if I'm handing my patients handouts or even sending them through my EHR, I don't have to edit those. I just have to put my brand on them. You don't have to rewrite every piece of content in your Living Plate RX library. It would take you years to do that. Really leverage ChatGPT for that content that is going to be public facing, and that does relate most to social media. And now social media covers a lot, right? So Reels, Instagram, Facebook, even live events. You can use ChatGPT to generate the marketing materials for those, because we give you that kind of content, the email sequences. So you can use ChatGPT to infuse your brand voice and tone into all of that. The other stuff, you don't really have to worry about too much. Once it's private or gated content, it doesn't have to be edited heavily. All right, so you want to select your content, and then the next steps that you're going to take is to give ChatGPT context. So remember, we talked about best practices for context. You don't want to just ask it to edit something for you. You need to give it context, and these are like the essential questions that you need to answer. And again, remember, if you are creating a thread, you only have to do this once. So tell ChatGPT who you are. I am a health coach who specializes in supporting people on their weight loss journey. I am a registered dietitian who specializes in serving people who've been touched by cancer, right? So just be a little bit specific about, or as specific as you can be about your niche. What your practice focus is, right? So the niche, who you serve, right? So who you are, who you serve, and how you serve them. Those are like always kind of key elements to your marketing message. So you should be clear on that first. How you have created content in the past. So providing a link to your account. So if you are asking ChatGPT to generate an Instagram post for you, you want to give ChatGPT access to your Instagram account. And I'm going to show you how to do that. It will learn in 5 seconds, basically, the tone that you maintain on your Instagram account. So you don't even have to tell it. You just give it a link. Who you want ChatGPT to be. So basically who you are, who you want ChatGPT to be. You want it to be a marketing expert. You want it to be a copywriter, an expert marketer, an expert landing page creator. You tell ChatGPT how you want to work with it. Like, who do you want it to be? So give it a persona. What tone you want to use, professional, casual, scientific, even again, like 8th grade reading level. Any call to action that's relevant. Sometimes I forget to put this, and ChatGPT just predicts that I'm going to want a call to action. So we'll add that too. It always delivers hashtags in my experience, but you can also ask it to deliver hashtags. And then really important, how do you want these results delivered? Now, if you're asking ChatGPT to deliver it as an Instagram post, that has a format, but that maybe you want maybe you want to create a special ebook, a special piece of marketing content based on, let's say, a blog post that you have access to in your library. You can upload the blog post to ChatGPT and say, please create, you wouldn't want to say, build an ebook based on this content. First, what's the first step you want to do when creating an ebook? Karen, do you want to share your thoughts on that? Like, if you're going to build an ebook on this, what is the first thing you're going to do?
I want an outline.
Outline, right?
Yeah.
Right answer. Yes. So so you're telling it how you want the results delivered. Do you want it delivered in table form? Do you want it delivered as a calendar? You know, you have to tell it how you want the results to be delivered. Otherwise, and it's a lot of the times it does a pretty good guess at what you want it to do. But what Karen just said is a perfect example.
I have found that sometimes I don't even know how I want it delivered. So sometimes I don't know all these things, right? So I just start with what I know, and then it comes back and I'll be like, oh, that's so salesy. That's not the way I would ever put anything out there. So, you know, the next point prompt would be less salesy.
Right.
And another one comes out, and then I'm like, well, you know, I want some emojis in there and I want to be more fun. So the next prompt would be like, so it's never, the first answer that I get from ChatGPT is never really perfect, because I don't always remember at the beginning to put all these things in. So as time goes on and keeping those folders, I think ChatGPT will remember, and then I wouldn't have to put all those prompts again in.
Exactly. You want to keep refining your prompts, but you just really need to do it once. But of course, you might change your tone for different posts. So you can always kind of redirect ChatGPT. Just tell it what you want it to do. Exactly. But yeah, Karen, rarely, like, I've never generated something in GPT, you know, like, oh, that's perfect. Like, let's copy and paste that. No,
but it is important to, you can go down a rabbit hole with this, right? So you have to say to yourself, okay, I'm going to limit myself to this amount of time and this task. Otherwise, I mean, it's akin to the Google rabbit hole, right? Like, you're searching and searching and searching, and you're just, you know, it's a bottomless pit.
If you're getting responses that are not thrilling you, it's not ChatGPT's fault. You're giving it the wrong prompts. Right. So you have to accept responsibility for that too. As, you know, the leader of, you know, ChatGPT is just your agent. It's not like the person. So you have to, you know, make sure that you're giving it a well-informed prompt first, and then kind of guided along the way. So yes, Karen, I agree with you. I rarely accept the first iteration. We have a question from Sonia. I love this question, Sonia, and I knew we were going to get this question because we did a special on ManyChat. So Sonia is asking, what is the difference between ManyChat, which we did a special event on a few weeks ago, and ChatGPT? So ManyChat is a tool that enables you to deliver content and experiences through your comments and your DMs in an automated way. So it's just like a delivery tool. It doesn't actually create the content for you. ChatGPT creates the content. Now you can incorporate ChatGPT into ManyChat. You can also incorporate ChatGPT, as you will see here, into your email sequences and into other areas of your practice. But ManyChat is really just a tool, Sonia, that you can use on social media to really efficiently deliver content. So this ebook, tomorrow, I'm probably going to build a ManyChat sequence that offers this ebook as a free giveaway. But I created this ebook using ChatGPT. Does that make sense, Sonia? If you have any other questions about that, let me know. Does that make sense, Karen? Just let me sure I'm making
because like with ManyChat, you're infusing the conversation. You're telling the robot exactly what to say in what sequence, right?
Right.
Whereas ChatGPT is a robot that you haven't programmed. You're programming as you go.
Exactly. Exactly. And Sonia's saying that's crazy. Yes, it is crazy, and it's crazy powerful to be able to create all of this. You're going to be creating all of this amazing content and editing all this amazing content inside of ChatGPT. You're going to want to share it with the world. ManyChat is one of the most brilliant ways to do that on social media. Although I just saw on Instagram that pretty soon everybody's going to be able to have 4 or 5 links in their bio. So people are going to be able to just go to your bio and you can just put a link for a download there. Now, the link does not enable people to just download your very valuable content. The link goes to an opt-in page so you can collect the email address. Don't forget that step, please. You're creating valuable content. You need an email in exchange for that.
I just want to point out is that, like, we're talking about this exciting thing. It's free. I would say it's very easy on the free version. It's so new that you're going to be sold on so many things. And there's so many softwares that are like saying like built on GPT-4 and built You do not need to spend money on this yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. I think there are ways that you can actually do this in an economical way, because I think we're at a point where everything has a monthly charge to it. And because this is so new, you're going to be, after this conversation, you're going to see tons of Facebook posts trying to sell you something. And I really would encourage you just to stick with the free version and get to know it before you subscribe to anything.
Understand the value first.
Yeah.
Right. For me, ManyChat is very valuable. For someone else, probably a link in the bio is going to be perfect. And that's free.
Exactly.
Right? And now that Instagram is going to be allowing us to have multiple links in the bio, that's even better. Right. So I love that point that you bring up, Karen. So yes, definitely start with the free. And I mean, I worked on the free version of Chat probably for 2 months. Wasn't thrilled with the content I was getting back. And then I joined for a month, but you can cancel at any time. I'm like, oh, let me just see what 4 has to give. And wow, I was blown away. So
I have it every month. I have a reminder in my calendar to just say, are you still getting value?
Are you? Right? I love that. Oh my God.
I'm on my 2nd month paying for it. I'm still going to continue on. But yeah, you have to know that you're getting value, because even though it's a low cost, it's another cost. That's the way I look at it.
And it all adds up. Just like Living Plate RX Prime membership, right? If you're a member and I don't continue to deliver you value, then you're not going to be a member anymore. So
exactly.
Thankfully, our attrition rate is like crazy, crazy low. So most people continue to get value out of membership from events like this and from the content itself. So yes, whoever you are paying for a monthly fee, they need to demonstrate real value to you. You need to give real value. Okay. So yeah, Sonia's saying good point. Okay, perfect. Raksha is saying that she uses ChatGPT for reference generation. 100%. And I'm going to show you how that works. We're going to get into creating prompts now, Keren. So Keren, your takeaway message was what here? You just, because you sent me a note just before we went live, you're like, I just want to be careful to let people to know this. Tell me what your thoughts were on creating.
Oh, it's in bold up there. There are no perfect prompts. So that's the other thing. You're going to see, I'm constantly saying, download my perfect prompt sheet or this, that. And I went yesterday, just in preparation for this, I went and I looked and I was like, interesting. I don't use any of those prompts and I still get pretty good, so I didn't even know that there was such a thing as a prompt. I was just writing in the way I talk and I was getting really good results. So there's
you were essentially creating your own prompts but you are curious and you were learning what worked and you eventually landed on things that worked, right? But what works for one person is not going to work for the next. So take these prompts for what they
I was going to say one other advice that someone gave me was that if you're using your ChatGPT and you're used a prompt and you're getting some good value from that prompt, write that prompt in your notes so that to use, then you start creating your own prompt list, like the prompts that are valuable for you so you don't forget.
And if you have them in the threads, you'll never forget because it'll be
exactly
right, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That's if you keep generating new prompts, it's going to be impossible. It's going to be impossible to create. So Keren, for you, my recommendation would be, take a look at your list of prompts and which ones work and start creating those folders because the beautiful thing about ChatGPT is that it's very predictable. So if it created a really good result for you based on a prompt, it's going to do it again. So yeah, that's great.
That's excellent.
Okay. So a couple of things to note here that these are just sample prompts for you. I've kind of created a Mad Libs style. And Celine Thompson, are you on with us right now? Because I keep using Celine's account as an example because I love her branding so much and she's such a great person. And Connie Brown Riggs, you too. We should have done this for your account as well. So no perfect prompt, just start somewhere and see what kind of results you get. And then you're going to revise your prompts until ultimately you have got the prompt that works for you for now. Important to note here, I'm just going to share my screen on here, right? So when I type in a message here, like right here, you can see how I have, let's just see here. Here's my prompt up here. All of this whole thing is my prompt. I put spaces. Now, ChatGPT doesn't need spaces. I do. My eyes need spaces. So if I'm going to maintain this really long thread, I need to have space in my content. Otherwise, I can't find things, right? Once you type in a message here, the second you hit return, it sends it off to ChatGPT to generate the response. So I just note that here in your ebook here, important note, once you hit enter, the prompt will run. But if you hold shift return, you'll get some space. Keren, how long did it take you to figure that out?
I only figured that out this morning.
Okay. It took me a while and it drove me crazy because I didn't like looking at huge blocks of content. It was really hard for me. So yeah, just hit shift return and then you can create space really just for your eyes only and it'll help you. All right. Oh, Celine is here. Great. Connie is saying, are the references valid? I got a reference, but it wasn't the correct journal or author. So Connie, that's why you need to check the references. So if you add a block of content into ChatGPT and you ask it, please provide the scientific references for this content, you can even be more specific. I ask for the PubMed references for this block of content. I also sometimes will say, what are primary resource references for this block of content? Please provide results from PubMed only. Right. So almost always, if it's in PubMed, it's going to be a valid piece of research. Whether it's relevant to the content or not is for you, the practitioner, to decide. So Connie, I think that you could probably get better success if you're just a little bit more specific in the prompt. Karen, have you asked ChatGPT to generate references for you?
I have not, no.
Okay, I have, and at the 4 version, I have found references that were not applicable to the content that I was creating, so I eliminated them, but they all existed. I just followed that, copied that link into my my Chrome bar, my web bar, and it brought up the PubMed article. So I was able to do that. Okay, so Raksha is saying that she had the same issue. Okay. So yes, you need to review the references. It can generate a lot of really good information, but you need to review it. Okay, so let's start with the first prompt. We're going to be asking it to edit content for an Instagram post. The Instagram post that I selected was something from the content drop this month. It was different types of tofu and how to prepare them. So here is my prompt. I'm going to tell, remember, you want to tell it who you are as much as possible, who it is, who you want ChatGPT to do, and then what ChatGPT's objective is. And then you also want to tell it kind of what the format is that you want it back in. So I am a blank. I could type in registered dietitian, nutrition expert, physical fitness expert, whatever you want here. Please help me rewrite the content below into an Instagram post that reflects the brand, voice, and essence of, you want to type in your account and then drop in the URL here, right? So I've created an ad libs kind of prompt here for you. And again, experiment with this and see kind of what you get. Your expert persona, so now I'm telling ChatGPT who it is a nutritionist who is knowledgeable about nutrition and whatever. So my tofu post is about tofu. It has nothing to do with fertility. So now I'm asking ChatGPT to take this post and craft it to my ideal customer avatar. Your expert persona is a nutritionist who is knowledgeable about nutrition and fertility and passionate about supporting people struggling with, again, fertility. The tone of your response should be empathetic and professional. When rewriting the content, make sure to incorporate key elements that represent the blank practice philosophy, visual style, and emphasis on foods that support fertility. So again, ad lib style, you can add your own thing. Karen, anything to add here?
No, I think that's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
So please provide a caption for the Instagram post as well. So just like a headline I asked it for. Here's the content. And then I went into Living Plate RX. I just copied from the notes section of Canva. I copied the caption and I hit run. And this is what I got. I did no editing to this at all. This is kind of a raw response. Tofu, a fertility-friendly plant-based protein to boost your journey. I probably wouldn't say boost your journey. I'm going to show you ultimately what the prompt said, but not bad. Have you ever been curious about the differences between silken, firm, and extra firm tofu? So right off the bat, ChatGPT knows this is an Instagram post and you need a hook. You need an engaging hook. Could it be more engaging? Probably, but again, not bad for free content. It goes on to explain tofu, swipe to learn more, the call to action, and then it gave me some hashtags. I read it, and then I typed in an additional prompt. I'm like, okay, I'm going to ask it to do something different. I would like to include additional information in this post about the health benefits of plant-based proteins and their potential positive impact on fertility. Your objective, ChatGPT, is to provide some additional content for this post. Please provide scientific references. I hit return. Here's the response that I get. So it took that caption and rewrote it, adding some scientific references, which was great. The scientific reference was correct. I checked on that. But in the end, I decided that it was a little heavy to include that reference inside of the Instagram post. But maybe I could use it inside a course or as a handout. You can hold on to that reference. So I decided that when I was editing it, that I was going to take out the scientific reference, but the information that it provided based on that scientific reference was correct. That replacing some animal-based proteins with plant-based proteins has been shown in research to impact fertility. And it used all the right words here, everything I'd want to say as a practitioner. Just come to my, okay. Celine is saying very cool, right? Celine, I'm creating a post for you. Yay! How fun is that? Okay, so I have now taken 2 versions of what ChatGPT gave me, and now I'm ready to draft my social media post. This entire process took minutes, less than half an hour to do, including the visual. Remember, if you are creating public-facing content, your post should look nothing like Karen's or mine or Celine or Raksha's. They all need to be very specific to your niche, your colors, your brand, and your tone. So my caption, I edited plant-based proteins for fertility. Did you know that incorporating plant-based proteins like tofu into your diet may support your fertility journey? Let's explore some health benefits and the science behind it. So I included the research. I just referred to the research. But if somebody were to come back and say, can you tell me what research study that came from? I have it. Incorporating plant-based proteins into your diet can also help maintain healthy hormone levels. Yes, correct. Tofu, made from soybeans, water, and a coagulant, is a versatile plant-based protein. So now I'm getting into the knowledge piece about tofu and not its health benefits, but like how you prepare it and kind of what it is. So what I've done is I've taken a social media post on tofu, which was basically just delivering knowledge, and I'm making it speak to my ideal customer avatar. This is the name of the game. Karen, I'm going to bump it over to you. Anything to add here?
No, this is wonderful. And I think what happens is even after, let's say you've done the edit and then you look at it and you're like, because I'm looking at it and I'm like, wow, that's long. It's a lot. I would put that back into ChatGPT and I'd say simplify into whatever, 100 words or you know, simplify in a number, like just making it lighter on the eyes. That's
what
all.
I would probably do is ask it to create some bullet points for me.
Yeah, there you go.
Right. So I like all the information include me. And again, everybody's going to be different. I like this information. I like that I'm including some culinary, some knowledge. But again, you know, as evidence-based practitioners who are looking to change behaviors, you need to touch on perceived outcomes, right? Just sharing information about tofu with your clients is interesting, but doesn't move the needle. Like you need to capture them and get them to perceive a positive outcome for eating tofu. That's when, you know, you get to that emotional piece, right? Where you're really connecting with your clients. But yes, I would probably, the next prompt probably would be, you know, please provide this information in bullet form so that it's a little bit easier to read, right? So you can even provide it with the reasoning, like Karen, like this text is a little bit much to read. Can we break it up and use some bullet points? They'll probably do a pretty good job at that.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so so that was an Instagram post. Here is a prompt. And remember, you have access to this ebook. So Paige, if you could drop the link for that, that would be great. Celine is saying, I didn't know it could give you scientific references. How cool is that? Yeah, it's very cool. I remember saying it didn't search when I've asked about PubMed in the past. Is that option available on the free version? I'm not sure. It does on the paid version. It does access PubMed on the paid version. So I'm not sure, Celine. You'd have to give it a go. So here's a prompt for repurposing a blog post. Who am I? As a nutrition expert, please help me repurpose the following content into 2 separate Instagram posts that reflect the brand voice and essence of my account, or in this case, Celine's account on Instagram. So now I'm taking a blog post. You guys have access to plenty, like thousands and thousands and thousands of words that you can now ask ChatGPT to repurpose to create a handout, to create an Instagram post. I'm using Instagram post as here. That prompt is not done. Your expert persona is a nutrition expert who is knowledgeable in the field of fertility nutrition and passionate about promoting healthy lifestyle for those trying to conceive. The tone of your response should be casual yet professional. When creating the content, make sure to incorporate key elements that represent my practice, philosophy, visual style, and emphasis on your niche. Evidence-based advice and personalized meal planning. Please provide captions for each of the 2 Instagram posts as well. Here is the content, and then post the blog post below. So I took 3 paragraphs from the fertility blog post and dropped them into ChatGPT, and these were the results I got. Karen, do you want to read these for our guests? In case they
You
can't
know what?
read?
It's very hard for me to read.
I'm like squinting here too. I'm so sorry. Again, you page just dropped for the third time the PDF. So I think I can do it, Karen.
Okay,
So,
sorry, I don't think I can get it.
I had to use like 12 font because I couldn't get all this value in for you with greater font. So I asked it to generate 2 posts, and this is literally, I just cut and paste. This is how it delivered it to me. Here's Instagram post number 1: boost your fertility with the right diet. I don't know that I'd necessarily say that, but again, this is raw information. Discover how an anti-inflammatory dietary pattern can help you on your conception journey. Pretty powerful. And then it gives you a suggested image, which I thought was really cool. Tells you what kind of image you should include. So loved that. Did you know that the food you eat can impact your fertility? Research shows that ... So it was a long Instagram post. I'm just sharing with you the abbreviated version here. Instagram post number 2: cut out inflammation. I wouldn't say that either, but again, raw. Cut out inflammation, boost your fertility. Learn how inflammation affects fertility in both men and women and how you can fight it. Again, not words I would use, but not a bad start. And then it gave me information on an image that I could use. So I actually loved the image part, Karen. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I mean, I love that. Sometimes I have asked ChatGPT to suggest an image, and then as a different prompt. Yeah.
All right. So here's another prompt for creating an email sequence. These are fun. For a Living Plate RX program, right? So let's say you're going to launch a menopause program. As an email marketing expert, please help me create an email sequence that follows the AIDA, and you guys can copy and paste and use these prompts: attention, interest, desire, and action framework for marketing that reflects the brand voice and essence of my nutrition practice, using the sales page here. So I dropped in the sales page for my program to learn more about the program I'm offering. Your expert persona, actually, I should edit this. I should just say I'm not an email marketing expert. I'm the registered dietitian at the top. But now we're getting into the persona. Your expert persona is an email marketing specialist with a deep understanding of the nutrition field and a talent for crafting engaging and persuasive email sequences. The tone of your response should be casual yet professional. When creating the email sequence, make sure to incorporate key elements that represent my practice philosophy, unique selling points, and the benefits of the program I am offering. ChatGPT is getting all of that information from your landing page. Please provide a 4-part email sequence with each email focusing on a different stage of the AIDA framework. Result number 1. Wow, I really can't read this. This is really tight. All right. So anyhow, it gives you, so the first one is attention. So it wrote a brief email on getting attention for my program. You can take that email and ask it to expand on it if you would like. Result number 2 is interest. So this is the interest email. Headline: what makes the Living Plate RX menopausal nutrition solution stand out? Something like that. Again, not bad, but I might ask it to generate more catchy headlines. Result number 3 is desire. And result number 4 is action. It did this in one shot, one go. So they're pretty brief emails, but they're good. Like they really follow the AIDA framework. Occasionally, with longer results, ChatGPT is going to stop. It's going to start generating the content, and then it's going to stop. All you need to do is type continue, and it will. Yeah, cool, right?
Nice.
So, yeah. So with email sequences, anytime you're asking it to generate longer content, I thought that because I was giving it a framework and really good direction, I felt comfortable asking it to generate kind of longer form content, but it did stop. And so I just prompted it again. Okay, so you just type in continue and it will continue. Then I didn't ask it to, but it generated a reminder email. How cool is that, right? So you take a look at these emails and you're like, okay, these are good, but I also want an email that helps my community overcome their objections, right? So I want to overcome objections email. So you just ask it to create another email that helps overcome objections. Again, because it's in the same thread, it's going to go back to that landing page and it's going to pick up what the objections are, because of course the objections are going to be on your landing page. Okay, so you can copy and paste any one of these emails back into the thread and ask ChatGPT to reword it or make edits. For example, if the email generated was too formally written, you can ask ChatGPT to rewrite it in a more casual tone and maybe add emojis, and it will do that. It's going to do whatever you ask it to do.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now here's a prompt for creating a newsletter featuring Living Plate RX recipe and video. Somebody, and Keren, I'm going to ask you to, because I don't think we talked about it yet, the experience you had with your son coming to you initially, like kind of a little bit panic mode saying, Mom, you're going to be out of a job. But somebody asked, can ChatGPT generate recipes? 100%.
Yep.
It can. So Keren, do you want to share your story? Because I have a very similar one.
Yeah, it was more of like, not even a panic. It's, you know, I have an 18-year-old who's just like, you know, they know everything. So he sends me a TikTok video and he said, Ma, you're going to be out of business. Ha ha ha. And so I watched this TikTok. And I honestly, at that point, that was my first introduction to ChatGPT. And I was like, I don't understand. Like, what is this? And so I put it away, and then I started seeing ChatGPT coming up in like conversations on Facebook groups, and I thought, oh, well, I should figure this out. So anyway, and as soon as I got a free account, I was hooked, and it only took me, I think, 1 day to go to the paid version,
right,
because I was really hooked. Anyway, so
I had a similar experience. Mine was a little bit more panicked. My husband read a news article on an online news journal, and it was about a woman who the headline was, "You will no longer need a nutritionist." And the article was about a woman who generated a complete meal plan with recipes using ChatGPT, and she published the prompt. Now, the thing was that she gave ChatGPT a lot of personal information, including the fact that she suffers with endometriosis. So she asked ChatGPT to generate a 5-day meal plan. She even specified like foods that she liked and the foods that she didn't like. And guess what? In like minutes, ChatGPT generated a meal plan and all of the corresponding recipes that went with that meal plan. So the question is does that put you at risk? I would say if all you do is offer meal plans, yes, it puts you at risk, because, you know, this person on TikTok, she invested a lot of time in creating that prompt, but then the prompt was out there, right? So the more people who use this prompt, the easier it's going to be for them to just, you know, generate free meal plans based on their diagnosis, right? So their nutrition prescription. So I don't think that it can be dismissed. I think that what it emphasizes is that we need to elevate our content game. We can't rely, nobody's going to make money consistently on meal planning, right? At this point, it's going to be really, really difficult, because now all of this information is free and it's being delivered at a very personalized level, right? So our argument before ChatGPT, Keren, was like, yeah, you know, everybody offers meal plans, but I offer personalized meal plans. Well, ChatGPT can do that now too. So, you know, how are you going to compete? You're going to compete by adding more value to your services and generate more valuable content. So pretty scary, right, guys?
see, and I don't see it as scary, because I don't think they're, you know, just like there's dietitians who are just, you know, you'll see in groups saying, oh, I'm staying away from ChatGPT. This is like, you know, it's about how, you know, the curve, I don't even know what the words are, the curve of how people adopt new technologies.
It's a bell curve, right? Yeah, like
it's a bell curve, right?
Yeah.
And I just feel I actually think I'll still make money selling meal plans.
Well, because you've established a brand and a connection with your customer. True. But what's eventually going to happen is somebody is going to, what this woman did on TikTok, somebody is going to leverage that and build a consumer experience that builds meal plans pretty easily and pretty specific. Yeah. So you no longer, you know, have to build these algorithms to generate meal plans, because now ChatGPT is going to do that, right? So my answer to my husband is, thank goodness I'm not just in the meal planning business, right? Like, I think right now, you know, whenever a new technology is introduced, it does generate fear. And the question is, how are you going to respond to that? Right? How are you going to respond to your fear that, oh my gosh, part of my business is now in jeopardy, you need to answer it. You can't ignore it. And Karen, what you said, I think is important. If you're hearing from colleagues who are like, oh, I'm not going to use ChatGPT, that's not ethical. I mean, those are people speaking not from a place of understanding what ChatGPT is and how it can be leveraged. If you ignore it, you definitely won't be able to compete. It'll be really, really difficult. So
I actually could see myself teaching some clients how to use ChatGPT to do their own meal planning. So
very cool.
Because and then I just thought about this as you're talking. We can you could put together a list of all the cooking videos that you have in your library and say to ChatGPT, create a meal plan with these cooking videos. And now, you have cooking videos, you have recipes, and you'll have a whole new package of offerings that you can offer your community.
I love that idea. Okay, in an effort to save time, I'm going to continue this. Right down the rabbit hole, but that's okay. I think it was important to talk about because we need to know, all of the, quote unquote threats to our business and how we can make ourselves more competitive. Exactly. All right, so this is creating a newsletter featuring a Living Plate RX recipe and video. So I actually love this prompt. I use it quite a bit. As an email marketing expert, please help me create. Did I read this already? No, I didn't. Okay. Create a weekly newsletter to introduce the feature recipe of the week and highlight the health benefits of its ingredients. Your expert persona is an email marketing specialist with a deep understanding of nutrition field and a talent for crafting engaging and informative emails. The tone of your response should be motivating and encouraging. Remember, so now I'm changing the tone depending on the type of content I'm creating. Remember, I said empathetic and professional. This is an email newsletter promoting like a fun new recipe, so a little bit lighter. It's going to be motivating and encouraging to inspire my subscribers to try the recipe. Please use the recipe provided below to create the email content. I copied the recipe from Living Plate RX and I posted it here. I just highlighted it. In the email, please provide a brief introduction to the featured recipe, discuss the health benefits of some of its ingredients, and encourage subscribers to watch the accompanying cooking video. All right, so unedited results. This week's nutrition and flavorful recipe awaits: lemon asparagus with pistachios. So it typed out, and you have access to this so you can read through it in your own time. But it was motivating. The tone was great, and it provided some health benefits of some of the key ingredients. Now, I was really excited about this, and now I wanted to prompt ChatGPT to name my newsletter. So something like I had Test Kitchen Tuesday when I was in practice. Test Kitchen Tuesday. Every Tuesday, I sent out an email with a new recipe and cooking video, right? So I wanted to see what it would create for me. So after you're satisfied with the content that it creates, you can ask it further prompts that are going to kind of enhance the experience of the newsletter. So let's see here. Please provide me with 5 catchy names for my weekly email series featuring healthy recipes. I've already told it who I am and what I do, so I don't have to remind it. But I want it to act as though it's a branding and naming specialist. Right? It's no longer an email sequence expert. It is a branding and naming expert. And it generated some really cool ideas, right? I let it know that my emails go out on Wednesdays. It was funny. I typed in my email goes out on Tuesdays. My email goes out on Fridays. And it played a little bit with the alliteration. And I just loved it. It was really, really cool. So then I asked it, I really can't read that. Oh, okay. So the next prompt, I'm like, oh, let's go a little bit further, right? A little bit further down the rabbit hole. It's late spring here in New Jersey. So I actually asked ChatGPT to give me 10 ingredients that I can feature for my next 10 emails in late spring. So it's generating the ideas for me. Somebody had mentioned that. I think Raksha, that was you, who mentioned that you can have it generate ideas. Like, tell me what ingredients I should feature based on what's in season. And it gave me a list of 10, right? So now I had 10 emails that I could write on radishes, on leeks, on strawberries, on asparagus, on rhubarb. Generated a lot of really cool things. So then I went to Living Plate RX and pulled the recipes with coordinating videos. Cool, right, Karen?
Extremely cool.
Yep. Yeah. All right. So, wow, we went through editing and drafting. I already skipped over that. and then further prompting. Are there any questions about what we've covered today? Jen is saying, this is mind blowing. I am experimenting as you're talking. And I just, all right, this is crazy. This is mind blowing. I'm experimenting as you are talking, and I just created a newsletter that includes my call to action to sign up for my personal nutrition assessment. I can't believe how much it does. That's taking action. That is super cool, Jen. Congratulations. Betsy is saying that recipe deserves its own newsletter. Yeah, pistachios is killer. I just love it. So how did you guys get value from today? Type in value in comments if you got value from today's live with Keren. Now, Keren is going, let me just come back to hello here. There we are. Keren has a coaching call coming up. Is it this Friday, Keren?
This Friday, yeah.
Okay. So here is her link. And can you please drop the active link page? Drop the active link in comments so that people can sign up for the coaching call right away. I am sure following this event that Keren's going to have a lot of questions about ChatGPT, and she'll be there to support you. So make sure, if you have not signed up for a coaching call yet, get in front of Keren. She is fantastic on these calls. If it's anything outside of ChatGPT, everything's on the table, right, Keren? Like, what are some of the most common topics that you cover during your coaching calls?
We cover, like, we go through everything, like the content in the library. There's always questions about the meal planners, questions about marketing programs. So each group is like dictated by the questions and the participants that are there. So it's really been interactive.
It's a live Zoom call. So, yes. And we only accept, how many people can sign up?
20 people.
20. Okay. And there are spots available in this Friday. So even if you joined a coaching call before, if you want to get on with Keren, spend some time with Keren, it's an open forum. It's all about what your needs are, and Keren will answer your questions. And if Keren can't answer them, she'll, reach out to me, and we'll make sure that you all get the resources that you need. We're seeing a lot of value here, Keren. Everybody got tons of value, tons of value.
Yeah, what I wanted to say was that, like, I started, I think, last month on the coaching calls. There were questions about, how do I make the social media content mine? How do I use the marketing? How do I use the content drops? And that's when I introduced to the group ChatGPT. And I'm like, do you guys not know about ChatGPT? You can do this, that. And that's when I reached out to you, Jean, and I said, we need to do a Q&A on it, because it's like fast. It's like this ball that just keeps coming at us, and we really need, we really need to know about it.
Keren, we might be, and so, yeah, I'm 100% credit today for today's topic goes to Keren. Where are you? So Keren, she definitely was a catalyst for this content that we're bringing to you today. So thank you, Keren. And we probably will need to do follow-up. I would say, it could be as much as once every 6 weeks or so, because things do change, and ChatGPT will be improving, and will kind of help you navigate those waters. So sign up for Keren's coaching calls. I think the schedule for the coaching calls is there as well. Paige, can you also drop in for those guests today who are not Living Plate RX Prime members? If you want to know what the library is all about, and what we're all, how we're all excited about this done for you white labeled content, go on our library tour. There's a link that Paige is just dropping here that will take you to a free library tour, where it's me just kind of, with a cup of coffee, walking through the aisles of the library and kind of showing you around and showcasing our content for you. Lastly, before we leave today, Martha is saying, thanks, Keren. I did not know all of the possibilities and how to extend the use of ChatGPT. That's great. Thank you, Martha. So today's dietitian is coming up. Keren and I are going to be there. And so it is, I think it definitely starts on May 14th. So it is Mother's Day. So if you wanted to come in kind of after a Mother's Day brunch with your family, or come and spend the weekend with friends and colleagues, it's going to be really awesome. It's in Savannah. Our members are going to be getting a discount. So if you are on the fence, if you haven't signed up for today's dietitian yet and you're on the fence, I have a special discount for you. So I will make sure that we get that out to everybody in an email. If you don't hear from me and you want to go to Today's Dietitian, make sure that you send me a note, DM me, and I'll make sure that you get that discount. But Keren and I will be there. We're going to be having a special event. We'll host you for dinner. Come and join us. We would love to see you. So anything else, Keren? I think we're good. I think we've covered everything that we want to.
I think I'm having tech problems or you are, but this was wonderful. Okay, I can't hear anymore. So
I was muted. Hold on. Can you hear me now?
I hear you. Yeah.
I was talking with my hands and I unplugged my mic.
Oh, okay. No, this is wonderful. I think, you know what I would love if the people who are watching this, if you can post in the group your experience, like what you've done, you know, maybe not your full, you know, but like just different ideas that you found using ChatGPT.
So great. Yes. And also when you post on social media, tag us, because I love nothing more than to share all of the work that our members are doing.
Mm-hmm.
So please tag Living Plate, or, you know, tag us, or tagging is the best at Living Plate versus the hashtag. But anyway, that you can get those posts to us, let us know. And the more that we share, the more that we can learn from each other.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Keren. Thank you again for being such a gracious co-hostess.
Thank you. This is wonderful.
Take care. Bye.